And welcome to this Degenerate Friday edition of Bury Your Bookie. I'm Jeff DeForrest. Very happy to have you guys with us along for the ride. We were kind of lamenting the idea that we became so football-centric during the football season, both college and pro, that it might be difficult to make the transition into wagering on other things. Now, we do have several people involved with the show, including the professor who's upcoming here in just a moment, who are experts at nailing college basketball. So we've been dabbling in that. We've even had some ventures into the National Hockey League, which we've had some success with over the last week or so with our handicappers that appear on the program. And of course, there's always the NBA, which is a little bit of a crapshoot. Most people think that it may be the most difficult thing to get a handle on, but nonetheless, we've had some success there as well. But one of my favorite things to bet is golf. And this one, I mean, I don't know what kind of price you could have received on this, but that was, I think, the most startling development yesterday as the now cognizant tournament has gotten underway at PGA National in West Palm Beach, Florida. It used to be the Jackie Gleason Inverary Classic. Then it was the Honda Classic after several other sponsorship turnovers had taken place. They changed courses a zillion times, but it was kind of a proving ground. They usually didn't draw the top names. Top 10 guys usually avoided that tournament and started preparing for Bay Hill, which is always very popular, and Tournament Players Championship up in Jacksonville as part of the four-stop Florida Tour. So you would see guys emerge from the woodwork that you never heard of before, but I don't know that I've ever seen anything as startling as this. As a guy named Jake Knapp yesterday shoots a 59, the 14th player in PGA history during a sanctioned tournament to shoot under 60. The record is 58. That was established, I believe, by Jim Furyk, and I think he might have been the only one ever to do it. Knapp, in this case, had a chance to tie that mark with an 18-plus foot putt on the final hole of his opening round. He leaves that one a little bit short, but still shoots a 59. And you're wondering if they didn't move the tournament to a putt-putt course because that was only good enough for a four-stroke lead over three other pursuers, and there are many people in there grouped in there at 7 and 6 under as well. But his 12 under par, 59. If you had gone ahead and foreseen that, I would imagine that you would be a very wealthy person today. I don't even know if there would have been a prop on something like that anybody in the field would shoot a 59, but it happened yesterday. So congratulations to Jake Knapp. The next important question is, who the fuck is Jake Knapp? And you're talking about a guy that could have easily fit under the movie title on the Bob Dylan thing, a complete unknown. Number 99 in the world, 0 wins, 0 top 10s, 2 top 25s. And he is the talk of the golf world today after shooting a 59 yesterday at PGA National. We welcome him to the show. Another guy who likes to dabble in a little golf wagering.
Not this time of year. Not to the majors.
Only on the majors, so you don't bet the Tournament Players Championship's a lot of fun when some guy goes kerplunk there on 17 and it gives you a shot to maybe make a big score.
No, I'm not that interested in golf.
You should have practice too.
I'm only dabbling in golf when there's absolutely nothing else going on.
All right, but you've had success and you've had your share.
I feel like honestly, there's been some nice hits along the way, but there's been a lot of kicks in the balls. It's a frustrating ass sport.
You thought Jordan Spieth got favorable treatment when they gave him what I call lie improvement in that British Open that time?
And you and PC both had him, so like two of the guys I'm watching the tournament with are like, yeah, Spieth.
Yeah, way to go. Put it in the fairway.
Like 8 or 10 to 1, and I got Kuchar at 50 to 1. That might have been the one that broke me with golf. Was
they stole that from you. No question.
Spieth hits it 3 fairways over. They start moving trucks to clear a path for him.
Yeah, he was behind like a sanitation dump. There was no way. I mean, he could have taken the most lofted wedge and not cleared that thing, and all of a sudden they're moving the thing sideways into the fairway and closer to the pin. So it can be, as they say, some very treacherous turf. But nonetheless, if you are betting and making wagers on anything, Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. They have the largest selection of odds on everything from the NBA, college basketball, the NHL, UFC, boxing, whatever you want. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with the odds, the stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline The game starts here. All right, we want to dive into some college basketball, and then we're going to go ahead and reprise your performance from an earlier program that we did with the big board. A very interesting offering this week by the professor. You have a couple of games on the slate that you like tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
I do. We got Purdue and UCLA. Purdue currently listed at 5.5. Although from a couple places there's a juice adjustment going on, so it might be trending up a little bit. We like UCLA in this spot here. The Bruins, they've had their struggles on the road, so have most teams, frankly. This season, they're not a lot of great road warrior teams, but they've been pretty solid overall in Big Ten play. And Purdue kind of up and down this season, including taking it. Excuse me, taking a couple back-to-backers there where they were laying points to Sparty and lost, and laying points, I believe, to Indiana and lost. Both of those were road. They are back home. But we think the number's a little bit big here for a Purdue team coming off 4 consecutive losses. I don't know that they should be laying upwards of 6 in this game. Like I said, currently 5.5, sitting at 6. I think just too many points here. I would be inclined to take the Bruins.
All right, UCLA. Getting 5.5 or 6 over Purdue, and you're also looking out west for a second choice.
Yeah, this is the one we're actually really on, which is UNLV at home getting 2.5 from Nevada. I really don't understand this line, other than just maybe people aren't paying a lot of attention to West Coast basketball. The UNLV notoriously great at home and notoriously very shaky on the road. Actually, I shouldn't even say shaky. I should say just flat out bad on the road. But again, great at home and catching 2.5 from a Nevada team that honestly not that good, coming off 2 straight losses themselves, including a road loss at Colorado State. Excuse me, losses in 2 of their last 3. I forgot they beat Wyoming the other night, but they lost at home to Boise. They lost on the road to Colorado State. Now they go to UNLV. To the degree that a rivalry is possible here, this is sort of a rivalry with Nevada and UNLV, and it's a home game for UNLV in a spot where they don't lose a lot at home and they pull a ton of upsets. And if you're Nevada and you spend all your time in Reno and all of a sudden get a couple days on the Strip, you're probably a little distracted coming into that one. If you're just a college kid from Reno and have to deal with the bright lights of Las Vegas. Now, kidding, but there is a huge home court bias towards UNLV. Again, don't really understand the line on this one, but if you catch a couple points with the Rebs, definitely like UNLV tonight. We could talk about tomorrow, although honestly, a little bit more difficult trying to project lines. What we thought the numbers we were going to get, we were way off.
Oh, that Alabama game last week.
Yeah, we thought it would be 2 or 3. It ended up being 9. Alabama covered anyway. Same thing with Houston and Iowa State. There was a late injury scratch there that drove that line. I think that like 12. It did go under, which is what we were shooting for in that one. But a couple of interesting matchups here. Number one, again, I'm not even going to try to predict the lines. You got Auburn going to Kentucky at 1:00. Kentucky, a team, got a nice win the other night over Oklahoma on the road after losing to Alabama. Excuse me, by 13. Kentucky team really struggles defensively. Auburn, one of the better, maybe, along with Tennessee, the best defensive team in the SEC. SEC, a really hard league to figure out because I don't know if the whole league is great offensively or the whole league is terrible defensively. Numbers would say the former because you look at them in out-of-conference play, they've been pretty solid defensively. But Auburn, again, not trying to predict the line, but I would say probably Auburn, a road favorite, is a thin one, couple points, maybe 3 or 4. I would lean towards Auburn in this one. Kentucky has injury problems at their guards. Both Butler and Jackson played the other night, but neither played particularly well. Look a little bit rusty, lingering injury situation. Auburn finishing the season very strong, have been strong all year long. There's a reason they've spent the majority of the year in that number 1 spot. So I would look to Auburn in that spot, assuming you catch a thin line. And then let's see here. The other spot I like, Texas Tech going on the road to Kansas. And as we had talked about before, trying to predict lines with the Kansas Jayhawks because they are so public is damn near impossible at this point. I would say I've been looking to play Texas Tech here. If you can get a thin number, the Red Raiders playing very well. They do come off a loss to Houston the other night, but acquitted themselves well in that ball game, and Kansas not nearly at their normal level. So if you get Texas Tech, maybe even getting a point or two, or on a thin number as a favorite, would look to the Red Raiders in that one.
All right. I've been seeing a lot of bracketology speculation, Lunardi, Jerry Palm, and the usual pundits.
It's about that time of year, yeah.
Anything stand out to you? I know Auburn's been the most consistent. They're the number one team. Duke has merged into the number two spot, and probably deservingly so. We saw Florida get upset this week as a number three team. We're seeing other upsets. Vanderbilt has been kind of a giant killer. Are there any teams, and no one wants to go, there's no romance with going with the chalk. So how much of a certainty would you say it is that Auburn will make an appearance in the Final Four? And are there any teams had some friends of mine trying to talk me into St. John's, which doesn't take much because we love Rick Pitino. He's been very generous with us over the years as an interview
I mean,
subject.
the problem with St. John's is because of Pitino and because of New York City, they're an incredibly public team,
Right.
despite the fact they don't have a lot of historical success. Like that, they've been pretty consistently overbet for the entire second half. And, the other night at Butler, really good example where they didn't play a bad game, but they were laying 7 on the road to a Butler team that's pretty good, and they won by 6. So you get kicked in the balls because the public is all over St. John's.
All right, we have many different platforms. Well, is there anybody that you're looking at that you're thinking, okay, this is worth taking a shot at the price?
I mean, for the championship,
Yeah,
again, Texas Tech would, again, I don't know how huge a price you're going to get, but they've been a very solid squad all year long. This is very difficult, by the way, without having the brackets up yet.
sure.
I would tell you honestly, probably the most intriguing team, if you are a Ken Palm guy, which I have been, as you know, a Ken Palm devotee for probably more than a decade now. Everybody knows symbols, top 21 offense, top 31 defense, something like 96% of national champions fit that profile. Most of those teams are the teams you would expect, the Auburns, the Dukes. But a couple of teams surprisingly in that mix. Maryland, who just lost on a half-court shot to Sparta the other night. They don't really have a notable win. They've got a couple of losses, but they're sitting at 21-6, I believe, ranked 16th this week. But they fit the Ken Palm profile of being a top 21 offense and top 31 defense. And another team kind of coming on late in the ACC, kind of getting some attention at the end of the year would be the Clemson Tigers. Another one, they fit that statistical profile, and they do seem to be closing strong as we get to the end of the season. Took a bad loss to Georgia Tech at the beginning of the month, but since that time, beat Duke, beat North Carolina, have held serve with Florida State and SMU and Notre Dame since, sort of rounding into shape. And again, they fit that statistical profile, and they may be one you could get, a big price on right now. So if you're looking price wise, those are a couple of teams. Again, it would be upsets and they would need a friendly bracket, but they fit statistically.
All right. As I started to say, we're on a variety of platforms here through nofilter.net, including Spotify and Believe and many other places that air the show. So that I understand is audio only. And I would recommend that as we bring on the big board with the professor on these Fridays, that you subscribe to the No Filter YouTube channel and catch out the visual on this, because it really does have a tremendous impact on the segment. So all of those people that are just listening to the program definitely get the visual and the video stream. You can do that by subscribing to nofilter.net's YouTube channel, or just clicking on nofilter.net and becoming a subscriber, and you'll get the full impact of what the professor is professing here on the program with the big board, which we introduced this week. Kind of an interesting one, Professor, because you literally are trying to make something out of nothing this week.
Right. We have a kind of a slow news week this week.
Yeah.
Not a ton going on in the NFL Combine if you're a big old draft nerd, which I definitely am. There's that. But it's a big board of news of the week on a slow news week. We didn't have a ton of things we wanted to talk about, but
Yes.
we did find 5 to talk about.
All right. Number 5. Let's start it out. Roll it.
Number 5, which we introduced regretfully, is J.J. Watt, we might not be finally done with yet. Just when we thought we were out, they're pulling us back in with J.J. Watt. For those of you who don't know, J.J. Watt is partial, very small part, but a partial owner uh, of Burnley FC, an English team trying to make their way back into the Premier League, playing in the Championship League. He was his goaltender on that team is a big Cincinnati Bengals fan. Which again, if you're an English guy and you're picking a football team to an NFL team to root for, Cincinnati's kind of a weird choice. But his goaltender asked him when Watt was meeting with the team, what would it take for me or for you to sign with my favorite team, the Cincinnati Bengals, and come back? And Watt responded, well, we could maybe do that if you don't give up a goal the rest of the season. Well, since that meeting, Burnley's goaltender has posted 13 straight shutouts. Now, there's a while to go here. Still 12 games to go. But J.J. Watt, after the 13th shutout, posted on Twitter, damn, I may have to start working out again. Which we know for J.J. Watt, working out means going up to that stupid Rocky IV cabin he has wherever hidden in the Wisconsin woods and abandoning his family to chop wood and do all sorts of other 1920s strongman style exercises that nobody else is. So it'd be great if J.J. Watt feels like he has to go up to the cabin and abandon his wife and kids. And then in the last game, Burnley's goaltender gives up like 7 goals.
Rolling that tire that he got off an 18-wheeler. Yes,
Right.
we've seen the regimen there. It's very Paul Bunyan-esque. And so you're not in favor of his comeback efforts, although 12 games to go, it does seem prohibitive that the goalie would have 12 more shutouts and account for 24 straight, but still
I
a
mean, yeah, but it seems unlikely he would have put 13 in a
sure.
row up start.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it is soccer. It's not like it's, a score fest to begin with. Like, I
sure.
guess it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, I mean, 2-0 constitutes a blowout in that game. One of the most ridiculous. As much as you hate hockey, I would say soccer is definitely the byproduct of a primitive society that may have been a mutant society as well with no arms, because otherwise, why wouldn't you just catch the fucking ball and throw it? All right, that's number 5. Number 4.
Number 4, for those of you who didn't realize that we were in a time machine this week, well, the University of New Orleans informed you because they hired Master P as their president of basketball operations in 2025. To which I guess my first comment is Master P is still alive. Who the hell knew?
Could have got minus 110, saying he was dead. No?
I mean, really, and a college now has a president of basketball operations, which, as far as I knew, was only an NBA job. I've never heard of this as a college job. I know that like Bill Belichick is totally restructuring the North Carolina football program to be more like an NFL franchise. But who knew that the University of New Orleans was going to start running their program like an NBA program and decided Master P was the man to do it?
Ricky Williams is still screaming, "Where's my money? Where's my money?"
Again, really, you could say that about all of Master P Ventures, including his, film production, his film studio, and his rap career and everything else. Has left a lot of people saying, "Where's my money? Where's my money?"
Much like a current high-ranking politician, just stiffing everybody along the way. Yeah, and everything's gold-plated with this guy. I'll never forget his brilliant performance on Dancing with the Stars, where I think it was only eclipsed in terms of being a disaster by Kenny Mayne of ESPN fame. So
I mean, I didn't know he was on Dancing with the Stars, but if you've ever seen the Master P episode of Cribs, his dancing partners, luckily he didn't have her gold plated.
all right, that's number 4, Master P, with the college basketball position of prominence.
Number 3, and this is a story I think we were all kind of hoping we were done with, but turns out we're not, because Yahoo Sports this week revealed 2 of the day spas where Justin Tucker went and got banned for supposedly asking for an act that was not on the menu were the Ritz-Carlton Baltimore and the Four Seasons Baltimore. So I think we have to ask our questions, which we asked when this first came out. Is this just every massage place everywhere? Do we not really understand the massage industry? Is the reason we're not getting hand jobs when we get a massage because we don't know to ask for it even at the fancy places?
Yeah, you would think, they would be, just putting a couple of cucumbers on your eyeballs and maybe spreading that genital area with avocado, but, wow. That would be making it, very prohibitive for, me to think about going into one of these, I'm not the type to go to a spa for a massage anyway, it's like, "Don't touch me," but, yeah, I mean, you would think that it would be, rather, unhealthy to walk in there and, you would have to hope that they made regular changes and, cleansings of the, bed that you're kind of, laying on.
You just hit it. I think the number one lesson we need to take away from the Justin Tucker story is that no matter where you go, no matter how much you paid, no matter how fancy it is, you better watch them wash that massage table down very carefully. Use a lot of soap, a lot of sanitizer, because those tables are probably coated in a goo you do not want to be laying in.
Yeah, maybe some lye, might be appropriate as opposed to,
Right?
just the
I mean,
usual dose of Lysol.
you're paying like 500 bucks at the Four Seasons to go get a massage, and you find out, what has been going on that table, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah, you would expect these kind of results to take place. You would find Justin Tucker walking the boardwalk in Atlantic City and going into one of those Asian spas there with the little fish outside that you can dip your toes into. But yeah, certainly not at the Ritz Carlton and places of this level of elegance and
Again, I think
crowd.
that the thing we have to take away is that this is what this whole industry is.
Yes, it
That
definitely needs to be investigated.
when you say massage, what you really mean is hand job is pretty
Uh,
much the main lesson here from Justin Tucker.
that's number three. Number two.
Number two, and particularly down here in South Florida, this was impactful. Dwayne Wade went on a podcast to talk about the last years of the Big Three run with the Miami Heat, and said that he thought things started to fall apart when Pat Riley banned LeBron's chocolate chip cookies from the airplane. Apparently, part of LeBron's big flight ritual was to have chocolate chip cookies waiting for him on the plane. And Pat Riley didn't like that. So he banned chocolate chip cookies from the plane.
Seems a little bit, over the top, does it not? I mean,
What's over the
guys.
top is that we got in a fight that ended up with him leaving with LeBron over goddamn chocolate chip cookies and where Maverick Carter sat in the on courtside or not. But then we gave Hassan Whiteside $100 million like a year later.
And of course, he did the same with several other guys that turned out to be complete stiffs, snookering the franchise for several years. Deion Waiters comes to mind
Yep.
after he was gargling with gummies that were laced with marijuana and nearly jumped out of the plane like he was D.D. Cooper. And yet Pat Riley had already rewarded this cat with like a fat contract that far exceeded any of his productivity as an NBA player.
Well, again, it's a good thing it wasn't marijuana laced cookies because otherwise he would have given his money to Hassan Whiteside too. It'd been, okay, you brought cookies on my goddamn plane, Dion Waiters. So your Whiteside's getting your money too. Like it seems like the lesson here is there's some serious control freak issues going on between LeBron and Pat Riley during that last season with the Miami Heat, and one of them included cookies for some reason. I mean, cookies. Like, were you worried LeBron wasn't in shape? Have you seen this guy? I mean, look, I got it when the Mavs are mad at Luca for showing up fat as shit every year. LeBron looks like he's carved out of marble, and you're fighting
Yes.
with him about goddamn cookies.
33 in a game last night with 17 boards and 6 assists in another Laker victory. Beginning to think, especially when you brought this up earlier this morning, Professor, that maybe what I thought was a completely disparaging portrayal of the great Pat Riley in winning time may have some elements and components of truth. So, number two, they chased LeBron over him eating chocolate chip cookies on a plane. So that brings us to number one.
Which is not a surprise in the least if you are familiar with any of our previous other shows, which is that, like, going on 30 years now, multiple franchises, multiple ventures, and Tom Brady still cheating.
Is that picture of Brady or Jim Carrey?
It's Tom Brady,
Yeah.
cheater, who's trying to recruit Matthew Stafford. Apparently, they had a meeting in Montana. They both have homes in a ski area up in Montana. and they had dinner, and people are worried about tampering. To which Ian Rappaport came out and immediately denied it, which resulted in a fight at the combine between two reporters, Rappaport and a guy named Schwartz, who ended up fighting in a Starbucks over this story. I mean, again, can you trust the NFL when it comes to Tom Brady and propaganda? Oh, no, we looked through his phone, which he had destroyed, and there was nothing there. It was all just, jokes about weight loss. It wasn't anything to do with taking the air out of footballs. And now, oh no, he and Matthew Stafford just really enjoy skiing in Montana. Really? Because NFL quarterback who now wants a $40 or $50 million contract, you want him skiing in Montana in the goddamn offseason? That doesn't seem like a healthy habit.
Yeah.
So, if Matthew Stafford suspiciously ends up with the Raiders and gets a new contract, I think we know exactly what happened. Meanwhile, the Dolphins probably will get penalized another third-round pick over that boat trip where Brady and Ross met with each other.
Yeah, this is not anything new or surprising when it comes to Tom Brady. So my tendency would be to be on your side of this argument that indeed that was just rampant cheating.
Again,
Taking
he
place.
has another team's quarterback over for dinner, claims there was no tampering involved in the NFL. It's like, oh, yeah, Tom Brady said it. It's not tampering involved.
And all of a sudden, all the stories have a straight line for Stafford
He
going to the
meets with the
Raiders.
goddamn Dolphins, and they suspect him of, giving away the Enigma machine in World War II. Like I said, they're probably going to penalize the Dolphins another draft pick
As they
because
should,
Tom Brady met with Stafford.
for giving them the idea. Professor, excellent as always. All right, so we're looking for UCLA getting points tonight against Purdue on the road, UNLV at home, and getting points as well against Nevada. A couple of
And again, keep your eye on that Texas Tech Kansas game. If it's a thin line, get on the Red Raiders. They're going to win that game.
All right, sounds great. You have a great week, Professor. We can't thank you enough for being with us here on Bury Your Bookie. Best of luck with all of your wagers, and we'll talk to you again next Friday.
You have a great one, Dave.
All right, the Professor, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Horse racing. We'll be out there for the Fountain of Youth. Keep this in mind. Leave out Pletcher, you leave on a stretcher. He has a horse in there that a lot of my friends seem to like called Gate to Wire in the Fountain of Youth, a prelude to the Florida Derby, which is the big event at Gulfstream Park here in South Florida, as the stepping stone, the springboard to the Classics and the Kentucky Derby. They've had many, many winners come out of the Florida Derby, going all the way back to Needles, who have gone on to win the Kentucky Derby and the Run for the Roses. So keep an eye on Gate to Wire. A lot of people touting that horse, Todd Pletcher Monster. I think he's the lesser of the two in terms of regard and odds of the two Pletcher entries in this 8-horse field. So take a look at that race, and you might get an indication as to some horse that you can embrace to win a Kentucky Derby. We'll have more on that as the season progresses. Thanks so much for being with us. You guys have a great weekend. For the Professor, everybody connected with Bury Your Bookie, I'm Jeff DeForrest, and we'll see you Monday with the next edition of the show.